Storytime with Mrs. G. Today's story is Math Curse by John Scieszka and Lane Smith. On Monday, in math class, Mrs. Fibonacci says, you can think of almost everything as a math problem. On Tuesday, I started having problems. I wake up at 7:15. It takes me 10 minutes to get dressed, 15 minutes to eat my breakfast, and 1 minute to brush my teeth. Suddenly, it's a problem. If my bus leaves at 8 o'clock, will I make it on time? How many minutes in 1 hour? How many teeth in one mouth? I look in my closet and the problems get worse. I have 1 white shirt, 3 blue shirts, 3 striped shirts, and that 1 ugly plaid shirt my Uncle Zeno sent me. How many shirts is that altogether? How many shirts would I have if I threw away that awful plaid shirt? When will Uncle Zeno quit sending me such ugly shirts? I'm getting a little worried. Everything seems to be a problem. I take the milk out for my cereal and wonder, how many quarts in a gallon? How many pints in a quart? How many inches in a foot? How many feet in a yard? How many yards in a neighborhood? And how many inches in a pint? How many feet in my shoes? I don't even bother to take out the cereal. I don't want to know how many flakes in a bowl. Mrs. Fibonacci has obviously put a math curse on me. Everything I look at or think about has become a math problem. I tried to get on the bus without thinking about anything, but there are 5 kids already on the bus. 5 kids get on at my stop, 5 more get on at the next stop, and 5 more get on at the last stop. Mrs. Fibonacci has this chart of what month everyone's birthday is in. Which month has the most birthdays? Which month has the fewest? Why doesn't February have a W? Don't you think this chart looks sort of like a row of buildings? Do you ever look at the clouds and think they look like something else? What does this ink block look like to you? The whole morning is one problem after another. There are 24 kids in my class. I just know someone is going to bring in cupcakes to share. We sit in 4 rows with 6 desks in each row. What if Mrs. Fibonacci rearranges the desks to make 6 rows? 8 rows? 3 rows? 2 rows? I count the 24 kids in our class again, this time by 2s. Jake scratches his paper with 1 finger. How many fingers are in our class? Casey pulls Eric's ear. How many ears are in our class? The new girl, Kelly, sticks her tongue out at me. How many tongues are in our class? I'm about to really lose it when the lunch bell rings. Unfortunately for me, lunch is pizza and apple pie. Each pizza is cut into 8 equal slices. Each pie is cut into 6 equal slices. And you know what that means? Fractions. If I want 2 slices of pizza, should I ask for an 8th? 2 eighths, 2 slices of pizza? What's another way to say 1/2 of an apple pie? 2 sixths, 3 sixths? Which tastes greater? 1/2 a pizza or 1/2 an apple pie? We haven't studied fractions yet, so I take 12 carrot sticks 3 at a time and eat them 2 at a time. In the afternoon, every subject is a problem. Social studies is a geographical problem. The Mississippi River is about 4,000 kilometers long. An M&M is about 1 centimeter long. There are 100 centimeters in a meter and 1,000 meters in a kilometer. English is a word problem. If mail plus box equals mailbox, does lipstick minus stick equal lip? Does tuna fish plus tuna fish equal forna fish? Physical ed is a sports problem. In 1919, Babe Ruth hit 29 home runs, batted .322, and made $40,000. In 1991, the average Major League Baseball player hit 15 home runs, batted .275, and made $840,000. In art, we finally get to relax with a connect the dot picture. Here is my picture. Too bad it turns out to be a connect the ancient Mayan numerals picture. Math is just a total problem. Mrs. Fibonacci says there are many ways to count. She asks us to give some examples. Russell counts on his fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Molly says 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Mrs. Fibonacci says, I always count 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. But on planet Tetra, kids have only 2 fingers on each hand. They count 1, 2, 3, 10. And on the planet Binary, kids have only 1 finger on each hand. They count 1, 10. What are the next 5 numbers in each sequence above? Do you think Mrs. Fibonacci has been to the planet Tetra? How would you bowl if you lived on the planet Binary? We are just about to go home when Rebecca remembers the special birthday cupcakes her mom made. There are 24 kids in the class. Rebecca has 24 cupcakes. So what's the problem? Rebecca wants Mrs. Fibonacci to have a cupcake too. Everyone is going crazy trying to figure out what fraction of a cupcake each person will get. I'm the first person to figure out the answer. I raise my hand and tell Mrs. Fibonacci I'm allergic to cupcakes. Everyone, 24, believes me and gets 1 cupcake. No one has to figure out fractions. We're out of school. I'm a math zombie now. I have to find something to break this math curse. I decide to try chocolate. My favorite candy bar is usually 50 cents, but guess what? Today, it's on sale for 50% off. Where A equals the number of letters in your first name, B equals your age, and C equals your shoe size, I decide to buy licorice instead. I pull out my money. I have a $5 bill, a $1 bill, a quarter, and a penny. George Washington is on both the quarter and the $1 bill. Abraham Lincoln is on both the penny and the $5 bill. I am now a raving math lunatic. What if this keeps up for a whole year? How many minutes of math madness would that be? What's your problem? Says my sister. 365 days times 24 hours times 60 minutes, I snarl. Dinner brings no relief. While passing the mashed potatoes, Mom says, what your father says is false. Dad helps himself to some potatoes and says, what your mother says is true. I think about that for a minute. If what Mom says is true, then what Dad says is false. But if what Dad says is false, then what Mom says isn't true. And if what Mom says isn't true, then what Dad says isn't false. But that can't be true because he says that what Mom says is true, and she says that what he says is false. Can that be true? I think about that. Then I think about it some more. Then I think I'd better go to bed. I undo 8 buttons plus 2 shoelaces. I subtract 2 shoes. I multiply times 2 socks and divide by 3 pillows to get 5 sheep. Remainder 1, which is all I need to count before I fall asleep. Then the problems really begin. I dream I'm trapped in a room with no doors and no windows. The room is covered with a lifetime of problems. I have only 1 piece of chalk. How do I get out? I'm about to give up and die when the answer to my problem comes to me. Fractions. I break the chalk in half. Then I put the 2 halves together. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 whole. I put the hole on the wall and jump out. I'm free! I wake up Wednesday morning at 7:15. It takes me 10 minutes to get dressed, 15 minutes to eat my breakfast, and 1 minute to brush my teeth. My bus leaves at 8 o'clock. What time will I be ready? 7:41. No problem. I've broken the math curse. I can solve any problem. And life is just great until science class when Mr. Newton says, you can think of almost everything as a science experiment.